Oops. I meant to do this as a one-shot. See, this is what we should have rehearsed. Anyway, hello and welcome to Clever Title Pending, where we talk to creatives about creativity and the business behind it. If you're here live, we welcome you. We welcome your questions. And we're hoping while you're here, you get some information that will help you level up in your creative career. Also, if you're watching us on the replay, we appreciate you guys and gals too, so please leave a comment down below and we'll try to give you an answer. If you ask us a question, either way, type in your questions and let's try and find some answers for you. And we're going to start the party with Master Ron Fitzgerald real soon.
10 seconds.
Welcome to Clever Title Pending, a proud member of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We talk to creatives about creativity and the business behind them. So type in your questions and become part of the conversation. And now, here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
Hello everyone, it's November 28th, 2022, and you are watching Clever Title Pending. Thank you for being here, and we've got a fun show planned for you, or semi-planned, that's how we roll, with Master Ron Fitzgerald, the great goth illusionist, the master of dark sticky magic, actor, entrepreneur, and so many other things, and we're going to have some fun. We think you will too. But we want to thank some people before we get to the festivities. First of all, our Patreon patrons. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can directly support your favorite creative people, and these folks are backing the Rising Tide all the way. We love them, and in exchange they get all kinds of cool things, like get to peek at works in progress, our twice weekly blog, all kinds of cool things. If you want to find out what we're offering you for your support, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And we're also brought to you by Rising Tide Publications. Bless you, Cookie. Bless you. And also Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Putting together a book is not easy. You worked hard on that thing, and so you want to sell scads of copies, right? That's how you do it with Plasma Fire Graphics, working on your cover and your online graphics and a book trailer, all at indie creator-friendly prices. So check out his sample. Check out Jeffrey Hayes' samples at the Plasma Fire Graphics Facebook page, then bop on over to plasmafiregraphics.com where you can check out more samples and inquire about his very affordable rates. Check him out. You will love working with him. The guy is brilliant, and he does fantastic work, as you've just seen. That's Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And we've got comments coming in already. We're glad to see everyone here. We'll get to them in just a moment here. But first of all, we want to bring in our guest of the month. We have known each other for several years now. And he's a dear friend of mine, and a real inspiration. This man is more than just an illusionist out of the Chicago area. He is also, as I said earlier, he is a movie star, a frequent guest at conventions, and just does everything incredibly well. And so we are proud, yes, proud and pleased to present the one, the only, the master of dark sticky magic, Master Ron Fitzgerald. Ron, how you doing, buddy?
Woohoo! We're here. And those devil horns, Brian. Devil horns, everybody. Put devil horns in the chat right now.
People.
Get in the salt circle and tune into us on the Ouija board. Yeah.
That's right. Tune on the Ouija board before it's too late or after it's too late, as the case may be. You can still talk to us there. Anyway. Oh, and I'm hearing
right out of the gate, right? Yeah.
Exactly. My God, we're in a screaming power dive of taste already. So, so folks, please type in your questions. We'll get to as many of them as we can in the next 60 minutes. And I'm just tickled as heck that you're here, Ron. So what we're going to do is I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I said I'm thrilled to be back. Back.
Okay. Yes. Because Ron made a very memorable appearance last year.
Yes. Yeah, last time I was on the show, I was going as you for Halloween, so I was actually dressed up just like Brian here. Yeah.
Well, I remember at the time, it was a StreamYard. There's like two little windows where I can see like your feed in one and my feed in the other. And I remember you were a little late because you were putting together your very first live broadcast, and we want to talk about that before the hour's over. And I'm looking, and I know you're in there. I know that's you, but it's like I'm looking at that and I just click on it, and I'm like, is my computer acting up? It's like I'm looking at two of me, and it threw me off a little. So
I imagine it would, right? You're thinking it's like, what the hell is StreamYard doing? Because I've got two of my own feed. I'm like, oh my God, it's not me.
Yeah, and what I should have been asking is, what the hell is Ron doing? So. So anyway, we'll get a few comments in here real quick before we introduce you. Carl Witzman, good to have you here, my friend. And Sarah is here in the house. Found you summoned by Ron. Love you both.
Right. We
Love
summoned
you too.
her. We got naked in the salt circle and we summoned her.
There we go. Try and unsee that. I'm not going to try. Anyway, Cool Gamer, glad to have you here. Welcome to the festivities. And Sarah on laptop page instead of phone. Weird, I know, but that's how we roll. Yes, indeed. And Eric Hawkins, my co-star on Comic Book Spectrum every Thursday night at 7 p.m. here on this very channel. Please check it out. And Lauren Jan Wilson. Hey, that's 10-second samples from Smash TV. Yes, it is. And glad to have you here. And Alex Raven 1313, Dark Raven. Good evening to you. And everyone, Sarah is just going nuts here. This is wonderful. And yes, we are on Monday this month. This is Monday. Yes, I have no idea what I'm doing while working retail in the week-long Black Friday chaos. And Grant Lankard, glad to have you here. Glad to see you, my friend. Mark Leonard, always a pleasure, brother. Glad to have you here. And everyone in the chat and go. And there we go. And yes, as I'm like voiding myself live on international television, everyone's saying hello to each other. Keep those comments coming in. If you have a question, we will get to them. And if not, I think Ron and I can entertain ourselves for the next hour. But anyway, Ron.
At least, yeah.
At least, yeah, we could go on, and we have. But anyway, Ron, I'm going to give you the floor here. We swept it first. And just step lightly around the pentagram. And tell everybody who you are and what you are about.
Well, I'm the Master of the Dark Realm, which means I'm an actor and a gothic illusionist, as Brian had mentioned earlier. I started off as a gothic illusionist, and then that led me... Well, actually, I started as a kid with a box of magic, which you probably wouldn't think about looking at me now. But then I went to the dark side, and then that led me into acting in horror films. And that brought me to you here now, where we are going to talk about lots of dark, sticky fun tonight.
Indeed.
Does that sum it up well?
I think so. You did a masterful job of that. I'd still be at it about 2 hours from now. But no, that's also Sarah reminds us that you are the former mayor of Hell.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Yes, I do have that credit. I am the former mayor of Hell twice impeached both times, which is the way every good political career should end.
Now, you want to explain
That
that?
sounds
You
familiar, doesn't it?
legitimately are the former mayor of hell.
Who else was impeached twice? I don't know. Why does that sound so familiar to me in a most haunting way? I don't know why. Anyway, let's move on.
I had to sneak that in, right? Yeah,
I'm going for 3, so I'm going to break that record. I'm going back for 3. I can't
There you go.
when yet, but I am going back. The last time I actually married a couple out in hell and performed out there again. Yeah, because thanks to the wonders of the internet, I am also an ordained minister, so you're welcome.
There you go. There you go. And also, folks, I want you to pay attention to the banner that we've got down there, because Ron's got some cool stuff. If you want to check out what he does, go to FitzGeraldsRealm.com, where you can get all kinds of cool merch like what you're seeing there. And if you go directly to his Gear Bubble site, from now until November, or is it, what was it?
November
the end of the year?
At midnight.
Okay, November 30th at midnight.
Today, tomorrow, and the next day, November 30th at midnight, 2022, for those of you watching this in the archived future.
There we go. Now I'm going to copy this. I was telling Ron how slick this is going to be. Holy cats, you won't believe this, Ron.
Well, and let me tell you this, and we'll put this up down in the comments as well. Go to the Gear Bubble store right now, and the Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Dark Sticky special is on. Use code Spooky Santa 20. That's Spooky Santa, all one word, 20. And all just one phrase, Spooky Santa 20, and get 20% off your entire order of cool realm merch.
There we go. And you can see it right now on the screen. And those of you who are watching us on Facebook will be able to access a clickable link. So, but otherwise, they can get to it from Fitzgerald's Realm too, correct, Ron?
I believe so. There is another store. There is a separate store on the website, on FitzGeraldsRealm.com. If you go there and go into the little menu that pops down from the upper right-hand corner, go into the store, and in the store you can get exclusive things there that you can't get anywhere else. You can get the Dark Realm DVD, collector DVD, all the Dark Sticky extras on that, and that's the only place you can get it. Anywhere online, that's where you get that. And you can also get the wonderful project that Brian and I worked on together, The Haunting Tales of Bachelors Grove.
Yes.
He wrote these things, and I'm in there along with the lovely and talented and super awesome Kadrolsha Ona, Queen of the Paranormal. So you get the Queen of the Paranormal and the Master of the Dark Realm, and Brian K. Morris all in one really super awesome horror comic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very proud of that. And that photo, I should add, that photo was taken in Bachelors Grove Cemetery in Midlothian, Illinois.
You took this, didn't you?
I took that photo, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was my photo.
Look at the likeness on that thing. Mm-hmm.
I know, hubba.
Kind of looks like me, doesn't it? Yeah, and there's
Yes, it does. Especially that person on the left.
Mm-hmm.
That he looks like that on weekends on the right. But anyway.
Well, and the cool thing is, for those of you who haven't seen him yet, on Kadrolsha's got a version of it where we trade places, where I'm back by the tree and she's in the foreground. So I thought it was very cool that we did that. So we each got a feature cover like that.
Yeah, I was very proud of that. And that was quite a memorable day where the three of us and Charles D. Moisant of Silver Phoenix Entertainment went up there and had all kinds of fun.
Yes.
Where weird crap occurred. So
it was super weird and fun, and we have to wander back out there yet again for another.
We definitely have to. I'm always talking to Kadrolsha, and the minute she can get back to the Midwest, we are going back up there. I promise you.
Yeah, I kind of want to go out there and set up a little show that is featured in the story in the comic, and I've actually performed out there before a long time ago in the early '90s when I had my own cable TV show. And you can see that on my YouTube channel. So if you're on YouTube and you want to see that, there's a playlist for my, Fitzgerald's Realm, my cult classic cable TV show, and you can see that in the special episode called "Every Day is Halloween." And you can see some of that is actually shot in Bachelors Grove, and I actually performed like a levitation and stuff out there. So that was fun.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah,
and definitely
yeah.
when you check out Ron's YouTube channel, please subscribe. This man should have thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers. There's a lot of entertainment.
Just like you need to subscribe to Brian as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did.
Sign for his first. Then come back to me. But anyway, but definitely there's a lot of entertainment on that because Ron's been at this for a couple of minutes, and he is. And I have to say, I have told you to your face. I have said this before to other people, and I'm not saying it just because you're here. You're exceptional. You're a really talented guy. I mean, we saw each other, like I said, at SilCon, I think about 6 or 7 years ago. I think
that's where we first met, was at SilCon, and I was performing there. And you and Charles both came out to the show to, see what, I mean, Charles knew me and he'd seen me before, but you hadn't. So you guys came out to the show, and it was one of the big illusion shows and everything. Whoever, burned someone in a coffin and, did all the fun stuff, cutting off heads, eating razor blades, all of that. And that was the first time I met you, though, and that was great fun. We have a great photo of the two of us from that event.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of my, your featured pictures on Facebook. I
love that photo. Yeah,
I do
this
too.
Wonderful, horrified look. Great fun. I love it. I love it.
It was, and the thing is, I am still in touch with your assistant at the time, Co Bast.
Oh, Co's awesome. She's off. She's got her own night in the city now, where she's doing kind of like gothic burlesque.
Yeah. She's absolutely gorgeous, sweet, absolute sweetheart. I love following her. So
very, yeah,
she is terrific. And Lauren Jan Wilson has the theme for the night: "Make America Goth Again." See that? Now you see, Ron. That's where there's your next merchandising, man.
Oh
the hats. All black with gold lettering.
They have to be, I guess, black. They would have to be black to be, maybe black with purple print or something.
Yeah, I think that would work so well. And Sarah, we're glad we're here for your relief. And yes, there might be some spine licking later. So, and Sarah, like myself, has the Dark Realm signed. So and she also has the comics, and careful to pay respects and not allow hitchhikers. I'm pretty sure you already take care of those things, though. I am officially the only one here. No, we've got other people, I promise, hon. But yeah, that was one thing I did learn about that weekend. The last time you and I and Controls and Charles went out there. You got to be careful because some of the spirits can attach themselves to you.
Yes, things will follow you out of Bachelors Grove.
Yeah, and fortunately, I didn't know it at the time, but Kadrolsha did some hoodoo for herself and me, so...
Mm-hmm. Didn't she kind of do that for all of us? She seemed
I think she did. I think she did that for all of us. So.
Yeah, I think she made sure we were all good in there.
Yeah, because she's good like that. So anyway, getting onto your career here, like I said, you've done this for a week or two.
Yeah.
Now, how would you say that your act differs from, we all grew up with like Blackstone Jr. and all these other guys, the new guys like, Chris Angel and David Blaine and such. It's like, how does your act differ from what might be termed or David Copperfield? How does your performances differ from, say, a more mainstream illusionist?
I am, it's based in the dark culture, in gothic and in horror. It takes a lot of inspiration from that, and haunted attractions and Halloween and the paranormal even, and the metaphysical. I mean, all of that inspires what I do. It's theatrical illusion, theatrical magic, but it is inspired by the metaphysical, the paranormal, horror movies, ghost stories, and all aspects of goth, or of what I call the umbrella term of dark culture, which is everything. It's the paranormal and horror and Halloween, all of that aesthetic, and the gothic, industrial subculture. all of that's in there, and all of that is an inspiration for my show, because those are the things I love. And then when I started, I was just, a nice young boy from the Midwest who had a box of magic, and it started off. And I know most of you will have a hard time envisioning this right now. It'll be in the book. It'll be in there. But I used to wear bad formal wear, a tux and a cape, and had birds and bunnies in my show when I started, when I was very, very young, because I started at like 8 years old. And was performing for money professionally, at like birthday parties and things. When I was 12, I remember the first show I did, it was just a birthday party in somebody's house, and it was like, but I made $15, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome, I'm in. They'll actually pay me to be a weirdo, a professional bohemian weirdo, and it wasn't that bohemian quite yet, other than the fact that I was in entertainment. But I got to a point later where that was no longer really entertaining to me or my friends, my contemporaries, and things had moved on. And I had seen, like you had mentioned, like Blackstone Jr., and there was Copperfield and all that. Alongside Copperfield, there was a guy called, he was from Canada, an illusionist called Doug Henning. And a lot of people remember Doug Henning. And Doug, he had the whole hippie persona. But he had long hair and a big bushy mustache. He was the first guy I saw where the light kind of went off, that I was like, oh, you don't have to do this old school BS, and you don't have to be do this corny crap, and you could kind of turn it into whatever you wanted to. It was just kind of you could use that as a blank canvas, so to speak, in terms of theatrical magic, and then really do whatever the hell you wanted with it. And around that same, and I knew that, and he was a big inspiration in terms of that. And then I had a friend, and she told me, she's like, you're way more interesting off stage than on. You should, think about making it more you. And I did. At that point is when I went to the dark side and put in all those great things from dark culture that inspired me, because I love horror movies and Halloween and ghost stories and haunted attractions and all of that fun. And then I started putting that into the show and kind of transitioning into what I do now and this look, and I'm like Doctor Who. I've regenerated several times. I mean, in the beginning I looked kind of like Luke Skywalker, and then later I blew out the hair color. It was blonde, and then it got really, really long, and then I shaved it all off to this. So the look has evolved along with the fashion and everything that went with it, and the music's a lot better than you'll get in anybody else's illusion or magic presentation. True. The music's way better. That's true. Yeah, true. I get high marks about the music from my audience all the time. So it clearly resonates with the creatures of the night, the fellow creatures of the night that love that kind of entertainment and that vibe. And then once I built this persona, I had studied acting and theater in college, which I took all that stagecraft and acting just to make my own stage show, the illusion, the Gothic illusion, better. I wanted it to be a better show and a bigger show to share, with my audience. And then lo and behold, later, I had people come back around to me, and some friends that were making movies, horror movies, and said, hey, we love your look and you move really well on stage. We would love you to come and be in our horror film. And then that was my invitation into that. And so that's how I went from really traditional magic and did my own thing with it. And that's very different because there's nobody else in the world of illusion or horror, that has done both things and done them well. There's been other movies that are about, magicians or illusionists, but they were done by actors, not by people who had spent their life studying and performing, theatrical magic. It's like Vincent Price on the 50s did The Mad Magician. And then later, my favorite, Herschel Gordon Lewis made The Wizard of Gore. Right. And if you haven't seen it, it's from like 70, 71. If you haven't seen it, go see The Wizard of Gore. Don't expect big effects. It's like super cheap indie movie, but it's a scream. You'll be quite amused by it. And so there's that. Even Copperfield was in a movie called Terror Train in 1980.
Yeah.
But again, that was the only one he ever did, and then he never did anything else in the genre or anything else. He never starred in a horror film or anything like that. Where I've done supporting and lead roles in a bunch of different horror films once I started. In fact, the first one that I did was called The Item, and that thing went all the way to Sundance.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's been a weird ride. It's been a long, weird ride,
but fun
one.
But a fun one, it sounds like.
Very fun, and now I make merch for you too to go along.
There you go.
With the weird fun. Wait, there we go.
Yeah, which you can pick up if you go to the merch link that we posted earlier, and we will post it again because we want to make sure it's worth Ron's time.
We'll put it in there, and make sure you use the code SpookySanta20 and get 20% off your entire order. It's kind of the Cyber Monday special that Brian and I put together just for you being here. And that time's out. That's only good until Wednesday, November 30th, 2022 at midnight. That's it. Mm-hmm. So, if you want something, go peruse the store and, get your order in by then and you're good to go. You get 20% off. Everything.
Every darn thing.
Every damn thing in the store must go.
He's going crazy. Everything's got to go.
With the sale. The real mattress. It's got to go.
Oh, well, talk about your act. I've seen your act. It is full of very dark humor. I mean, I was laughing out loud at a lot of it. Plus you're doing stuff that, most of us see on TV. Or I shouldn't say we see the exact same thing, but we see that level of quality in your act. It's not like, you got like the Marshall Brodeen magic kit last week or anything.
Right. Well, I've done this for a long time. I that's why, I studied theater and acting and everything to make the show good enough. And it is funny. I mean, a lot of people think when you say gothic illusionist, a lot of people think it's like, it's strictly like goth culture, and that it is dark and mysterious and kind of hardcore.
And humorless.
Right, and humorless. But you have to think of it more like I'm a horror host because I do the illusions in kind of a vignette form, and those can be darker and kind of spooky on their own. But then when I come out of that and come and address the audience and play with it and reference what I just did, there's humor in it. I mean, I had somebody tell me a long time ago, you have to do one or the other. You can be the cool, guy that does the dark stuff all to music, or you can be the funny guy. And I'm like, no, I'm good at both. I want them to put them both together. I mean, and I'd always been a fan of horror, so I knew, I was familiar with horror hosts, Elvira, Svengoolie, many others, and I knew that you could have that dark aesthetic up against humor, and that makes it more accessible to everyone, really.
Yeah, and it also relieves a certain amount of the tension that can come up in the show, because you do things like you open up with eating straight edge razor blades.
Yeah.
And it is not you are. I'm glad you wear dark clothing, because sometimes they don't come back in pristine condition. If y'all know what I'm talking about,
there will be blood. Yes,
there will be blood. There will be. I promise.
People have seen it live. I mean, they've even seen me. I mean, they are real razor blades. You do have to know what you're doing. There is illusion involved, and it's very sideshow in its nature. But I mean, I've cut myself many times. I remember one time at Flashback Weekend, horror convention here in Chicago, where I'm from, and I, got my finger as I was demonstrating how the razor blades were actually real and sharp, and I got my finger, and I was bleeding all over the damn props and everything. I had to have somebody come up out of the audience and put a Band-Aid on because I was bleeding all over everything. So, there will be blood. Sometimes there's more than even I expected.
Yeah, and it's one of those gags that I see it. I've seen it several times, and I don't get tired of it. It's you do it just so damn well. Now
that's why I open with that. I mean, once you walk out there and eat some razor blades for people, you can kind of follow that with whatever the hell you want to, because you've got their attention.
That's very true. And plus, this is the sort of act that a lot of illusionists, I would think, would close their show with.
when I first put it in the show, I put it,
Yeah.
later in the show and in the middle of the
Uh-huh.
show while I was, getting it going and letting it breathe. And I wasn't sure quite where to go, but it became such a notable act in the show within the structure of the show,
Uh-huh.
and I knew it was strong enough. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. When anything's that good, you
Uh-huh.
can open with it, and then you can roll with it from there. It's like taking them on that roller coaster, but you need something to kind of get everyone's attention first,
Mm-hmm.
and that is one of those things that you
It
can
sure
really,
is.
yeah. You walk out, eat some razor blades, and by the end of that, they're very willing to go on whatever roller coaster ride you're going to take them on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now, yeah, you mentioned earlier, some of your influences like Doug Hennig, who
Yeah.
I remember seeing him on TV once doing the Houdini water torture.
Yeah, that
Thing.
was like his
Scared
first.
the hell out of me.
He did a nice job for a guy who was really doing. I mean, Doug was fantasy, but he's like puppies and rainbows and butterflies fantasies,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I'm like gargoyles and vampires and hellhounds.
Yeah.
I mean that I went to the dark side, but it's a dark fantasy. But he did that. But when he did the water torture, it's very dramatic and it was dark, and it was probably one of the darkest pieces he's ever done,
Yeah.
considering his persona, his style.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Now, who are some of your other influences? Like, I know one of your creative influences was David Bowie.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. Beyond influences within the realm of magic, there are others, and probably just even more important were the other uh, uh, people that inspired me. I mean, even Elvira, and others and comedians, but certainly Bowie, probably as much or more than anyone else. And you would think I'd be more of an Alice Cooper guy, and I am.
Yeah.
There's just something. It was the artiness of Bowie, and Bowie also, he did music and then entered into film, and that inspired me when I had an opportunity to do that. I didn't hesitate. I've got my eyes, don't match. So
Yep.
from the club of cool dudes whose eyes don't match, I was like, all right, I'll join that club with him. That's cool.
There you
and
go.
and so he was an inspiration there because he didn't make a big deal out of it, but he used it, and certainly that was part of the Bowie mystique. And I liked him because he was very private in his personal life, and it led to a lot of speculation and mystery about him as a person, as a human. I mean, because back in the 70s, there was a time when he really did. He followed Aleister Crowley and the Golden Dawn. I mean, Golden Years, his song, and Station to Station is all about that. The Thin White Duke is based in that kind of persona, and that fascinated me as well. And he kind of followed that up not long after that, after the Berlin trilogy. Then it was, of course, my favorite Bowie album, which is Scary Monsters.
Mm.
There was just something about him that always inspired me because of that personality, because of the way he mixed art with music, and because he could go out there in full theatrical garb and something crazy, wearing something outrageous, and he could go out there and do the same show and just rock it in a suit. So it was really interesting to see him go from one look and vibe to another, and sometimes his concerts were big and theatrical, and then sometimes they were more about just him and the music and the songs, and that energetic exchange with the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So very much so. But Bowie is a huge influence. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we've got some comments coming in before we get too far behind.
Let's get into the hi. We didn't forget you guys are out there, but please come in and ask questions. And
Yes, and also let's see. We know this one. Ariana, our cherry poet and artist.
Ariana, we love Ariana. Hello.
And hope you are well also, Ariana. Please check out her work on on YouTube and also on Amazon. She's an awesome, awesome talent.
Subscribe to this channel as well. Yes.
Yes, please do. Please do. Support all the people you see on this channel, especially today being Cyber Monday, which we'll get into in a minute. Alex Raven 1313 Dark Raven says his actor's better than their cookie cutter magic. Exactly. You know, Ron's stuff has great personality, which is what drew me to it initially. So, and let's see. And Joe Dog McKeel of Stupid O'Clock Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern and 11 p.m. on Saturday nights. Also, Hallow Con, check that great show out. Hello, what a pleasant surprise. Joe, it is always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Grant Lankard says, and Joe Dog are saying hello to each other. And Sarah says, yeah, I almost didn't recognize you with the hairspray, platinum blonde hair from back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Very Jareth looking, so that was
very... I was, at that point, I considered myself like the secret love child of the Vampire Lestat and the Goblin King. Yeah, pretty much. That was my look then.
Yeah, 2 vampires, 1 cup, right? Anyway, Ron's holding a cup right now. Anyway, there we go.
Mecca-hiney-ho.
And Sarah implores you, don't forget to buy the CDs. Remember, this is Cyber Monday, and you can get 20% off if you type Secret Santa 20 at checkout on that site that we put up earlier, and we'll put up again. And Sarah says, I'll take one of everything. You two are so much fun to hang out with online in person. We love you too, Sarah. We are so glad you're here. And people go cross-eyed that I knew Ron before BKM. Yeah, like minutes. I think she knew you minutes before she met me. Apparently, they didn't know what I was. We met through DJ SLS. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right. And Sarah reminds us that Ron's been on big-time Chicago news shows, too, multiple times. No, you are not in the wrong place, hon. Mm-hmm. You're in the right place, right time.
Right,
but yeah,
mm-hmm.
You're practically a regular on WGN television.
They thankfully love me over there. Those guys, I mean, they are in Chicago, and that morning show goes out nationally on their cable outlet, which is awesome. So that's probably the way I've been on national television in the States through them more than anyone else or any other show. And they've been awesome. But they've got like the coolest, most laid back morning show. I mean, for a news show, they do not forget the humor. And a lot of times it is super weird humor. So that's, I think, why they enjoy having me on, because, they want something different. And with me, they certainly get plenty of that. But I'm always grateful to everybody at GN for having me back and putting me on. And we haven't been back in a recently, well, post pandemic, and then they've got other things going on in their studios where they didn't have as much room to do something big. But I'll be back on there soon. But if you want to see some of my appearances on there, that's on my YouTube channel. Go subscribe, please, and check them out. And you can see a bunch of what Brian's talking about there. But yeah, those guys here, WGN in Chicago, I love them. And they've got the best morning show. Out of any national show either, they've got the best sense of humor. And, it's just like, it's all fear and loathing on the news anyway. It gives you a million things to fear and a million things to hate about everything. So when they interject the humor into that, you have to appreciate that, because they get it, and they give you a break from all the grossness that usually pervades in the news.
That is so true.
I love them over there. I mean, just that's kind of what got me there in the first place. It's like it was from watching them, If I was out of my darkened chamber early enough to actually take in the morning news, they're the ones I would watch. So yeah.
Actually, Ron stays up to do the morning show and has to cover himself in dark draperies so that his flesh doesn't peel with the sunlight.
I do. Sunblock UD, undead. Yes.
Exactly.
Very important, yeah.
Yes. Now, Joe Dog McKeel has a very interesting question. This guy is interesting. Well, of course he is. We don't bring dull people onto this show. Wonder if he would do a small southern show. Joe Dog McKeel does, I mentioned HallowCon, and he has it every Halloween weekend in Dalton, Georgia, which is about an hour and a half north of Atlanta, off of I-75. Really wonderful community. And It's basically a relaxicon, and he's always looking for entertainment. So,
Yeah.
so maybe I should hook you two up.
Let's talk. Yeah, absolutely.
Joe Dog, just give Ron a DM on Facebook, and tell him I sent you. All right, because I've been to HoloCon twice, and it's a good time.
You were just telling me about that actually, and it sounds like a great time. And I'd love to get down there. I have not been east or into the Atlanta area enough, so that would be great.
There you go. Always.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you'll like it. I can go. If you haven't, if you want to see some of what I do on stage, go check out my YouTube channel, and there's a whole playlist of live performance and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really puts on a great show. He really does. And Sarah says you had Bowie hair back in the day, Ron. You really did.
Oh, I did. Oh, it's like, I mean, there's nothing truer. It's like at that time in the early '90s when I had my cable TV show. This was like right after my career. I spent 5 years previous to that working for Paul Osborne in theme parks across the country. And Paul had brought the last 2 seasons after the summer season, which is mainly, the park show kind of thing. He started booking us for Halloween at Six Flags Over Texas. And that was really at a time when not all the other main theme parks were doing that. I mean, the first one to do it in like '73 was like, Knott's Berry Farm being Knott's Scary Farm. I think it goes back that far to like '73. Yeah. And this was like in the later '80s, like '88, '89, we were doing this. But it was before every amusement and theme park in the galaxy had a Halloween season. They usually let it, they were done. At like September, when you would usually see the parks be done. But that got them into a whole, autumn show, and it was all, of course, Halloween themed. And we were the first ones to do that. Paul took it in there, and I was one of his guys. And Six Flags Over Texas was filled to capacity. The fire marshal had to come out and shut down their gates because he said, "Park's full. You can't get anyone else in here. We're not." I mean, and that is unheard of to get a theme park to capacity. And that was all because of Paul bringing in the entertainment and package shows. And I was one of those shows. So I was there then. So anyway, I don't know. I got a little off topic. So it was at that time and right after when the Bowie look came in, and it really was inspired by, I was very inspired by Anne Rice and her novel. So it was The Vampire Lestat and The Goblin King. Because the Goblin, Labyrinth came out in '86. So, and of course, being Bowie inspired, it was very much those looks, and then the long blonde hair. And again, you can see that on the YouTube channel if you want to watch some of that.
And you do. Look at that.
And you do. Get over there, lick the screen, push some buttons, watch some stuff.
And Cat Rothermel, love me some David Bowie. Mwah, we love some Cat Rothermel. How you doing, sweetie? And and Sarah, we'll let Joe Dog and Ron hammer that out, and that'll be fun. And yes, and Ron has traveled as far south as the glorious climbs of Mattoon, Illinois, the gateway to Charleston. And this is what Ron finds when he texts me. And Glenn Fleming, Brian! So this is where you are. There is Glenn Fleming, who, is this actually, oh no, who is, I gotta say, he has this marvelously well-edited book, Jack Kirby, Personal Journey, Words and Pictures, about his visit to the King of Comics, Jack Kirby. Wow. Check it out on Indiegogo and on Amazon. Over there. Right now, this very second. Yeah. And maybe I need to draw a cartoon character of you both. Well, I am a cartoon character. I am somewhat animated, but maybe, I'm sure Ron is up for it. And we've been seeing you do a lot of great art lately, Ariana. Very cool. Yeah. And there we go. And everybody's saying hello. And, Sarah says, I'm totally in the wrong place where I live is what I meant. Being here totally in my element. And we're glad to have you all here. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Yeah. And, yes, and here's where we all bonded. I had no idea about podcasts when we found that 12-inch square of Wi-Fi where Ron and I were talking about when it becomes necrophilia. Remember that, Ron?
Yes.
We were chasing an errant Wi-Fi signal around the Cross County Mall in Mattoon, and we all had to take turns. It was for Ariana's podcast. We all had to take turns standing on the square where it was actually strong enough to broadcast. So
there was like
yes,
a 1 square foot space in that entire venue in that mall where she could get signal. And we all had to wander around there and go right there, and we did. And that was great fun. Yeah,
it really was, especially when I got to stand next to Sarah. But anyway, and yes, plus that's the one thing your wiry frame will get filled out at HalloCon. I'll talk him up, Joe Dog, and you seal the deal with him, all right? And what's this?
I mean, I've performed from Hollywood to Hong Kong, so that sounds like a stop I need to make. So let's talk.
It does. Yeah, definitely. And Carney's tried to pick me up when I was taking a Greyhound to Mexico when I was 25. That sounds like a story we need to hear. And there we go, Lauren Jan Wilson. Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, Lauren Jan Wilson says, fastest way to my heart is through my stomach. How do you think I got married to such a hot babe like Cookie? Feed your woman. Feed your woman.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, Domine to Cookie from the sneeze earlier in the show. So.
Oh, thank you. I'll make sure she gets that.
I did mention that I was an ordained minister thanks to the wonders of the internet. So I just wanted to make sure she got a Domine in there.
So
she's completely healed now. She's good.
She will appreciate that. She likes that. With me, she does Domino, you're a pizza. But anyway, and yes, it's sweet to be a part of the sold out shows. Definitely, Sarah. And Lauren Jan Wilson says Greyhound to Mexico. Now that sounds like a story worth telling. That's what I'm thinking, man. There's a novel there, or at least a couple of movies. And alone 2 weeks after Hurricane Katrina, to see who I was with back then, there were 5 or 6 of us for that 12-inch square. Yeah, it was. We were all vying for that signal's attention, that's for sure. Now switching gears a little. Now, you and I can talk on the phone for hours, and we have, Lord knows.
We have, more than a few times, yes.
We have, and it's always been fun.
We're some daddy mofos. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah.
Yeah, like we both been vaccinated with photograph needles or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing I love about you, and it's something we both share a passion for, is entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people just put their creative eggs in one basket, like I'm just going to draw a comic book, or I'm just going to write short stories, or I'm going to do screenplays, what have you. But every time we talk, you're looking at all kinds of new business ventures and how to expand your reach within those ventures. Now, what got you into the entrepreneurial spirit? And also, you're, like I said, you're a movie actor, and we will get into that before we go. But what got you switching into other areas? And also, you're a broadcaster now too. You do live shows just like this, except they're dark and sticky and a lot more fun than what I do.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a different kind of fun here with you.
It is a different kind of fun.
Guests on and everything. But yeah, mine is more like, horror and, dark realm centric. I mean, because that is, that's my jam. That's my thing. So,
right.
Yeah.
Now, in a post-COVID world, do you think that's helped you?
Yeah. I mean, and for me, it's almost it is reminiscent for me of the old cable TV show. And I mean, people, where it ran. I mean, if it was YouTube before there was YouTube, that show. I mean, people were actually, because it was the early '90s, so it was on a cable system, but a local origination cable out of the Chicagoland area, and particularly the south suburbs, and about 13 different communities, as well as into the city when we took it in there as well. And it didn't have the reach that clearly the internet gives you global for whoever you can get out to who discovers you. And that's where it's at now. So the show kind of reminds me of doing the cable shows, in a certain way, almost kind of strangely a continuation of it in a way. But yeah, so there's a broadcaster element of it, as well as the, putting together and designing the merchandise and things like that. And in terms of the entrepreneurial thing you were talking about. And that kind of got me, it started to open up from I mean, I'd always done merchandise, as many acts will. I always had a merch table, and there was also always shirts and things like that. I can do more now with print on demand and other things that we have available to us now. I can do a wider variety of merch, which is great for the audience because they can get other things on, whether it's a cup or a T-shirt or a mask or something else,
Right.
And but it kind of started. It's like when I went from being a live illusion show, and then onto the TV show, and then right on the heels of the end of the cable TV show, I got offers to act in movies. So I transitioned and started doing that. But I was used to being in front of a camera, and I was certainly used to being in front of an audience and memorizing certain, bits of dialogue and everything. And so it was pretty natural, since I had some acting and theater training, to go right into movies, which are a different animal. I mean, you don't have a live audience and you're shooting things again and again and again. But that was fine for me. That was a great, as opposed to a live presentation, which is, magic is kind of like a special effect live presented to you. And now when we're doing special effects and other things, and even just delivering dialogue in a movie, then you can do it again and again and again. So that took me in, because the same people that will watch a horror movie or a dark genre, sci-fi or whatever it is, but a dark movie or a thriller or something, that's the same audience for my stage show. So I thought that all fit together very well, and that's kind of even bolstered the entrepreneurial side of me even more so, because at that point I had other things I could sell, like DVDs, movies and stuff, because when I started acting, that was really big. I mean, when I started, hell, the item in the first couple of movies were actually out even on VHS at the time.
Ooh.
That was at the end, at its end, and most
Yeah.
things were on DVD. So there was physical, there was DVDs. Where everything now is really streaming is the game. I mean, and if you want to watch Dark Realm, and
you do, it's
the DVD,
great.
yeah, it's a nice combination of the show and my acting. It's 65% of this is my stage show, shot in front of a live audience, exactly the way you'd see it. And then that's merged with a horror film narrative that I wrote with my production partner and good friend, Vincent Valancio, whose horror pedigree goes all the way back to Sorority House Massacre with Roger Corman in the 80s. But if you like to see Dark Realm, you can watch that streaming on Amazon Prime Video, because everything is about the streaming now. We love our streaming because it's convenient. Don't even have to necessarily own a movie or anything on DVD unless you really love it. And thankfully, a lot of the genre people in horror, sci-fi, and fantasy, we still like our physical merch. So if you like that, we've got DVDs for you. But if you just want to see the movie, and you should, like Brian said, you can check it out on Amazon Prime Video. So then there was like a whole other aspect of what I did that I had to concentrate on getting to my audience and adding to the merch table. And then we were all online. And once we had stores online, then I became even more aware of other things that I could offer to the audience and get them, so they could enjoy the dark, sticky fun even more. Because that is my mission. My overall mission is to deliver dark, sticky fun to the world as much as I possibly can.
That is true, and you're a great ambassador for that world. Ariana Archeri says, I love how you all still talk about that podcast so long ago at the mall. It was a really life-changing weekend for all of us, I think.
Well, there really was a lot going on. I mean, it was really great. I had to be thankful to Becky and everything who brought us all down there and everything, right? I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I that's when I first met you in person, and of course I knew Charles, but Charles was there. I met Sarah down there. I think that's where we first met, and there were some others too. I mean, so and Ariana. I think Ariana and I had we met already. I think we had at something else, but
Dark History. We met at.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
And then of course it was very memorable. The let's chase down a signal like Indiana Jones through the mall. It's crazy. It's crazy fun. So yeah, of course we remember that, Ariana.
Yeah, great weekend.
Oh, it was really awesome.
was fun. And Joe Dog McKeel says, I will get with Ron later this week. Gotta run. Joe Dog, thank you for being here. Check out Stupid O'Clock on Thursday nights at 9, 11 p.m. all times Eastern. On Saturday, you'll be glad you did.
I look forward to hearing from you. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll tell you a little bit more once we're off the air here. Ariana, our cherry poet and artist, says, I think COVID forced us all to become broadcasters. It certainly forced churches to become their own little live church on Facebook or YouTube, Sunday mornings too. Yeah, and a lot of people have found almost like a secondary career out of broadcasting. So yeah, definitely. And Alex Raven 1313 Dark Raven says, love the picture behind Ron's head. Is that on a coffee cup somewhere?
It will be now that you have asked for it.
Who says Ron's not like the great DJs and he doesn't take requests, right?
that is me in Nosferatu makeup, and that very photo right there, that was taken by the awesome dark arts photographer Jim Sorfleet of SNS Photo. We did a whole series of Nosferatu photos. There is one mug that I have that on. If you have to run and get it, but maybe in a minute.
Okay. Well, we can bring you back, and you can show then. Then everyone will have to come back, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll be back. But yeah, so Jim did that. We did a series of those, as well as many other things. In fact, the photo, Brian, that you put up of me and the model, my lovely friend. She that photo is also by Jim, the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, good work from Jim, definitely. Adrian Gambit says, hey Brian, hey Adrian, hope you're doing well, glad you're here. The Hitman Blog Talk, all evening to you, my friend. How you doing, Howie? And everyone's saying hello. And Sarah says, dear Lord, I'm so glad you summoned me, Ron. Makes her sound like a demon from the pits. Trying to find balance between work.
All you have to do is text her 666 and draw a circle of salt. Bang! She's right there. It's amazing.
I just say her name 3 times real fast. Anyway.
Yeah.
And the Hitman Blog Talk mocks us with his laughter. Check out the Hitman. He's got some really good blogs, radio blogs going right now. And now Sarah goes, now what do you do to find that balance? Or do they blend together nicely? You know, about your creative side, your social side, your performing side. How do you keep the balance?
Well, I mean,
That's a great question.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people, I've heard the comment a lot, especially online, and people going, "Oh, you're very genuine." You're, and I'm like, well, I guess for a professional bohemian weirdo, yeah, I am. I mean, this is me. It's just that on stage or in front of a camera, I'm doing a character, and on stage, it's me, but it's me turned up to 13. So, instead of it goes to 11, this goes to 13. So, and so it is me. And so all aspects are just aspects of my life. I mean, they all kind of overlap, really, because so many of my friends, most all of them, are all other cool, weird bohemian weirdos like you, Brian, and me, and so many, and Ariana, and everybody, that checked in here. So many are very much, into that, are part of that culture in one way or another.
Yeah.
And so, so it all kind of, it works easy for me because it all works around, so
it's not so much like a Clark Kent and Superman kind of thing where you have two polar opposites, really.
It's not at all like that. It was more like, I guess Clark Kent would have been my, to go with one more apropos to me, Bruce Wayne would have been the early days, just the normal side, but it's like if Bruce Wayne, turned into Batman and then never went back. It was more like that. I put on my eyeliner and I stayed there. Yeah.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And Hit Talk, the Hitman Blog Talk says, I remember that. Ariana reminds him that was on your network, Howie. That particular show's story gets told so much, I guess it was a day to remember. Well, yeah, it is. And yes, that is a must-have picture. It is a beautiful thing. And the Hitman Blog Talk says it was a great weekend and made me chuckle. Patrol pulled it through, and it was an amazing show with all your great individuals. Those were the days when we first got this thing rolling, and the good old days when we were just starting. Well, you got to start someplace, and that was a heck of a weekend for all of us, I think. And I only have 5 or 6 pics of you, Ron. That doesn't sound stalkerish at all, does it?
Not at all.
Oh gosh, no.
There's more. There's more.
That's right. Ron and I are making plans. We will tell you. And Sarah says you had the magic touch. Now the show gets beyond PG-13. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that sounds a little kinky. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. You need a lighting guy. I'm your man. Anyway, Ace Bonnie, good to see you. Haven't talked to you in ages, Ace. Can't have a show without me popping in. Well, I hope I never have a show without you, my friend. Glad to see you here. And it's so strange that I work and live amongst those who thump me or try to. Is that code or something? And yeah, I noticed it blended pretty well with your life and life's income. I'm trying to find the same thing. I think we all are, to a degree. All of us in the creative arts are trying to find that, precarious balance where we stay true to ourselves, but at the same time we follow our creative muses and look for more opportunities. So we don't keep our eggs in just one basket. So,
but don't you find that easy? Because I mean, your creativity flows from you and your personality and your own personal taste and everything. And thankfully, there are a lot of other people that like what we do, and we can share it with them. So, but I mean, I guess I just don't feel a lot of struggle with my, personal side and my professional side. I know for some there are, and for anybody like who's entrepreneurial or in show business that is still like doing a regular job 9 to 5, whether it's corporate or whether you're waiting tables, whatever it is, there is a bit of a separation, only because that demands that there be more or less, because there aren't a lot, especially for alternative kind of people like me that have a different look and everything. The UK and Europe is very, very open to that, but it seems that here in America, corporate America and big chains and things like that, most of them are not open to an alternative look. Shaved head is easy because a lot of guys do that, and some women. But colored hair, lots of piercing, lots of ink and stuff like that, that starts to not work well for them. And I think that is unfortunate, because that does not mean that you are not friendly and knowledgeable and can do the goddamn job,
Right.
So
right.
I think that's very unfair to those people who just need to go there and make some money so they can go do their, pursue their pay the rent while they pursue their, creative endeavors.
Right. Well, and also I can see in you that, I can see where it's, that the entrepreneurship is a part of your personality. When you're doing magic shows at 15 for money, that shows a lot of entrepreneurial spirit right there.
12, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or 12, excuse me.
I used to, when I was in grade school, I mean, this is even before I had hit, where I had met a guy that I was working with, and who they offered magic lessons at the local high school. And I wasn't in high school yet, but I went and I took those lessons, and I became friends with the instructor, and the instructor became my first mentor. And his name was Robert Anderson, who worked under the name of the Great Andersini. So,
nice.
But he was awesome to me, and he taught me the ropes, and he actually got me my first paying gig. He could not have been more awesome to me. And, no gatekeeping, no weirdness. I mean, I met him, teaching, and he showed me the ways of the Force. He was my Obi-Wan Kenobi, literally. I mean, it was so cool. And, but even before that, when I was in grade school, I would set up my garage as like a magic theater. I had these great big giant something off of, there was like a, I don't know, it was a carton that used to be a crate for like a refrigerator or something, really big chunks of cardboard. big as a wall. And I painted them to look like playing cards. So there was the 4 aces, the playing cards behind me, and my table and everything. And it wasn't a professional table. It was just a card table with a cover on it and all my props on it and stuff. Before I even really knew how to structure a show and take it out or anything, I was performing, and I would make up my own tickets. I would draw them by hand and sell them to my classmates, for like 50 cents. And then they would come to my garage on the weekend, and I would do a show in this magic theater I put together. It was
nice.
Oh yeah. So that's when I knew. I didn't think that and that gets in. And the language of entrepreneur wasn't even in your head when you were a kid like that. I just I wanted to perform in a magic theater, so I put one together and I did it, and I sold tickets to it. So I guess that was very entrepreneurial. I didn't think of it that way at the time, but it was,
Yeah. No, and I love hearing about your Mr. Anderson. How
Mr. Anderson.
I think all of us, and that's something the show wants. All of my shows should try to be is screw the gatekeepers. We don't need people telling you can't do it. We need people telling you how to do it. How to get there, how to follow your dreams, and how to
and sometimes
reach for success.
Yeah, I mean, and because at first I was paying him for his knowledge. I mean, I paid for those classes at the high school, but after that we had become friends, and he took me under his wing, and he like I said, showed me the way of the force. So, and then I was off performing, and he got me my very first paying show. So, I just eternally grateful to him because he was so good to a young kid that wanted to learn magic.
Yep. Yeah. And that's Rising Tide all over there.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. It is. I mean, so you're going to have to spend a little money here and there to get in. But once you have access to people that are doing what you want to do, and I mean, if you want to go learn something, the qualifier is go learn it from someone who's done it. Don't get theory from anyone else or anything like that. Go to someone who does what you want to do and find a way to learn from them. If they don't offer it, talk to them about it. But that is a way to do it. And be kind to them. I've had some young people approach me about, showing them, more about the professional side of illusion and stuff. And somebody very recently was super rude and gross to me, and I blocked him. So I was very unfortunate, but it was just somebody I did not want to spend time with. So that was it. So if you are going to go out and look for a mentor, act like a human around him. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. How I understand. I really do.
I mean, I think we've all seen things like that. There's always people, and you can tell when they just, are people. I mean, I understand, and I applaud anybody who's thirsty for some knowledge and wants to learn what they want to do. And he did the right thing in coming to somebody who's done it.
True.
But then, his behavior was not professional in the least. And, you can't work with that. So, I mean, but in the same thing, because if I'd have treated Mr. Anderson like that, we wouldn't be talking about him today now, would we?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You'd be asking me if I wanted it supersized.
Exactly. And I changed your world with that. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's an extra $5 if you want the plug back in it.
That's right. There you go. A little larceny in everything we do. Let's see. Here we go. And yes, we should have that phone call one day. Brian, Ron, Howie, me, Sarah could be a fun phone call. And Sarah points out that since BKM and Cookie have been in my room, Ron's next.
Oh my.
So anyway,
I'm ready to make the salt circle again and text her the 666 right now. Come on. Yeah.
I'll pick you up if you go down I-57. I'll come pick you up, Ron. And Sarah says, I do what I can to be creative at work and forget about work when I'm at home. Keep in mind that I'm working a lot of hours right now in the first time in 6 years. Well, we're glad you're getting those hours finally. And I do owe you a note sometime, but
it is a challenge. It is a challenge,
is.
Especially when you've got a foot in both worlds. You go in there and you bust your butt to get some money to survive on, And then afterwards, you really got to be motivated to pursue your craft, because at that point you usually want to sit down and Netflix and chill, but you have to resist that sometimes, which it can be good creative input, so that's not a bad thing all the time either. You just can't do it all the time when you really want to and relax. You have to then go and build, your thing, and pursue your passions. Yeah. So it's not easy doing both. And I was kind of lucky because I started, and at a very young age, I knew what I wanted to do, and I've always pursued that, and I had some side things early on, but, I knew that was not for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it much.
Very good. Very good. And capitalistic companies, that's what we're all dealing with in one way or another. And Ace Bonnie says, just goes back to don't judge a book by its cover. Wise words indeed, Ace.
Very wise words indeed.
Yeah. And Sarah says she pulls out her pentacle necklace out at work, hopes that her family doesn't see it. That could be bad. I want chalk paint, she says. It's black and can be written and drawn on. That's got to be expensive. I don't think it is. I think you can actually go to some places like Home Depot. I've seen it at Lowe's. And it's basically, you paint it on a surface, and it's the same sort of surface as chalkboards. In fact, I've been thinking about some stuff and using that. So yes, follow a dream with a nudge, not with the holding of a hand. You can hold a hand for so long, but you got to let them fly. I like what J. Michael Straczynski once said, that as you're climbing up the ladder, you should have not just one hand in front of you pulling yourself up. You should have one hand behind you helping someone else, get up the ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and many times the people that you help are very helpful to you later,
That's true.
Yeah. And they'll continue to work with you as well, Like when I worked with Paul Osborne and everything, I wound up at the time contributing. He wrote illusion books. They're for the magic industry, so most people wouldn't be familiar with them. But unless you're, one of the magi, and then Paul's and his books and his plans. He did illusion plans and things. And he had me write and contribute to some of his earlier books. And then later I was featured in both of his books of spooky illusions, because I was his spooky illusion guy. And I even wrote the foreword to the second and final one, Evolutions. That one I wrote the foreword to him because he asked me to write the foreword. And he had David Copperfield write a foreword to one of his other books. So at that point I felt I was in some pretty good company. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll take you on. I'll do that. Thank you. Yeah.
There you go. Well, I got a lot of advice from, several people on my way up this time around.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you think, well, they just spoke to me, probably didn't remember me. But when I announced that I was no longer doing Never Mind the Furthermore in the mornings, this man posted a very complimentary thing about Brian. I've been watching Brian all this time. He works his ass off, and he deserves to cut back a little. And I just thought, well, that was really cool that somebody remembered me on the way up. So, but you're right that you get chances. You start out maybe as a client to a person, then eventually maybe you can become a peer. Part of the peer group. And same person from YouTube says, I judge books by their synopsis. Very good. That's a wise thing to do. And Sarah says that her YouTube pick is a crow flying out of a cage. It's symbolic of her stretching her wings. And yes, crows are a good omen. I agree.
Yeah.
And yes, exactly right, Sarah. You have to do what is right for you. And I think what's right for us, Ron, is probably bringing us to a close. Because you promised me an hour, and I got you for an hour and 12. So I'm going to let you get back to your dark stickiness here. But before we go...
Thank you for having me on, because you kind of scheduled this one just to get back together and do this. So thank you so much, Brian. I mean, everybody send Brian some love in the chat, because you put on a lot of shows even still, but certainly when you were doing that morning show and you were doing it every day, man, that was impressive.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really do. And of course, I'm not just a friend. I'm a fan of yours. So that's why I was so happy that we can do something together. And we might be doing something later this week.
We're gonna have projects coming up.
Yeah, we definitely got some plans in 23. So we will keep everyone apprised of those.
Yeah.
So Yeah, and yeah, Sarah, the time has flown, but love you to the abyss and back always forever, hon. Mwah. Thank you
Yeah,
for being here, Sarah.
thank you for popping in here, Sarah. Thank you. I knew if you were available that you'd come join us. So thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ariana, our cherry poet and artist, says Brian rocks. Thank you so much. And so does Ron. I couldn't agree with you more, and so do you, darling. So
So
do
does
you.
she. Yes, you do. Yeah.
And Ace Bonnie says, I'll bring Brian some pants. They'll be in pristine condition by the time you see them. I don't need to wear them here. And thanks for the invite, Brandon Fan. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Much appreciated your presence has been. And before we go, Ron, I'm going to give you the whole screen here. Tell everyone where we can keep up with you and maybe what you got going right now. And do mention that gear bubble thing again.
All right, done. Thank you. Brian. FitzGerald'sRealm.com. That's my home on the internet. And there's a store in there if you want to get Dark Realm or the Haunting Tales of Bachelors comic book that Brian wrote and I am in, along with Kadrolsha Ona by Silver Phoenix Entertainment. So that's all in the store on Dark Realm. So Dark Realm, Fitzgerald's Realm. .com, FitzGerald'sRealm.com, and that's my website. If you're looking for the Dark Realm movie, that's on Amazon. Go on over to Amazon and check out Dark Realm. Just look, search for Dark Realm. If you want to watch it later, go put it in your, watch list and save that. And if you want the DVD, that's on the website on FitzGerald'sRealm.com. Otherwise, you can find me all over social media. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm actively building that up. There's a lot of good stuff. If you want to see anything that we were talking about, from the old cable show to my appearances on WGN and Live Illusions, go check that out. It's great. It's all right on the YouTube channel, and please subscribe. Otherwise, I'm on all the usual, places you can find people on the internet, the Evil Book of Face and Instagram and Twitter, if Elon doesn't completely shoot that into, straight to hell. Twitter.
You were doing so well, Ron. You were doing so well.
You're doing so well. I was trying not to go there, but I had to. So Twitter, which I'm sure, I don't know, we were making jokes about that earlier. But anyway, so all of your usual social and FitzGerald'sRealm.com, my home on the internet, my website. And Dark Realm over on Amazon. What else I got to tell you? Oh, yeah. I'm doing a special in my Gear Bubble store, which is my print-on-demand merch. It's really good. There's a wide variety in there. Brian's got the clickable link for you on the Evil Book of Face, and you will be able to grab it or find it in the down below on YouTube. But you can go to there, and if you go into the Gear Bubble store, there's, like I said, a wide variety of shirts and cups and masks and other things in there. And you can also use this code for the next 3 days. Spooky Santa 20. That's Spooky Santa 20, all one piece, all one phrase. And that will get you 20% off your entire order in my Gear Bubble store. So head over there. That time's out Wednesday night, November 30th at midnight, 2022, for those of you watching the archive later. So Spooky Santa 20, run over there to the Gear Bubble store, find stuff you like, and shop for friends. And because there's stuff in there that is certainly like the mug and some shirts, which is branded for me in the show. And you will find things that are not branded. It's just spooky fun I created for you. And that's all in there. So find something you like, 20% off your entire order with that code, Spooky Santa 20. So, and enjoy your, spooky holiday season. The Krampus Day is coming up pretty soon. So enjoy your Krampus Day and have some realm gear for that. Thank you, Brian.
Well, my pleasure.
Pimp out?
Nope.
Well, do it. Okay.
No, what I was going to do is say, everyone right now, take a screenshot of what you see here. And that'll give you all the information. Remember, you've got till Wednesday night at midnight Central Time to make this magic happen. And remember, Ron Fitzgerald mugs and his movies make a lovely, thoughtful Krampus, I should say, gift. So
Krampus or Solstice, yes, absolutely.
there we go. There we go.
Mhm.
And so I think I'm caught up on the comments. Sarah is mocking us her laughter while she's shopping. And
Awesome.
Let's see. And we had one other thing here. Great show. Great show. Ace Bonnie. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much. And Sarah has the theme of the night. Who needs pants? Thank you. Anyway, Sarah, love you. Love all you guys that came to see our party here. And big shout out. Thanks to Ron Fitzgerald, the goth illusionist, the supreme, the master of dark sticky illusion. And thank you, brother. Appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you, Brian. You are so totally awesome, my friend, and thank you for everything you do. I look forward to our future endeavors, to the things we have planned to work together, because I always love hanging around and working with you. And thank you for having me on tonight on this special Monday night show. So thank you. And thank you to everybody who showed up, who came out.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
and
you.
I'm going to put you in the background, Ron, so I can say goodnight to you properly.
Done.
And I will take over the screen here as we close out the show again. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your great comments and your fun participation. We hope you'll make us a habit. Now, I'm your host, Brian K. Morris. I'm an author and broadcaster and former mortician's assistant. And I can be found on Amazon, Walmart.com, BooksAMillion.com, Smashwords, as well as the Rising Tide Publications page on Facebook. But for one-stop shopping, go to this place here. It's got all my broadcasts, all my various other ventures. Check out my books, and you can sign up for my free insider information, the next issue of which goes out Thursday around 5:15, December 1st, around 5:15 Eastern Time. You have time to sign up for the newest issue, so please go there. And it is my favorite F word, free. All right. And in December, we're going to have another show we will announce on Facebook and in our newsletter and our Patreon account who is going to be on that. And we want to thank our sponsors, of course, because without them, we wouldn't be doing this thing. We want to thank Rising Tide Publication. I've got an in with them. Check out The Terrors when it comes out this spring. And we also want to thank Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You saw what genius work Jeffrey Hayes does. We'll put him to work for you, all right? It's never too late. Check out all of his great images on his Facebook page. Then rock on over to plasmafiregraphics.com and check out the other stuff. And take in his indie creator-friendly pricing. You'll be glad you did. He's great to work with. Trust me, I have worked with him. We're going to be working some more on some future projects too. That's Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And we also want to thank our Patreon subscribers. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can directly support your favorite creators, and these guys help the Rising Tide move on and forward and help others in the process. Plus, they also get blogs, get to peek at works in progress. Right now we are serializing the second Volcana book. Yes, I'm finally getting off my backside and writing that thing. And if you want to check out that book, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and check out the levels that you can pledge for. And as always, if you've enjoyed any part of this broadcast or plan to in the immediate future, please give us a thumbs up or a like if you're on Facebook. And be sure to subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any episodes of this extravaganza. And don't forget, Thursday night we'll be back with Comic Book Spectrum. where I am joined by Eric S. Hawkins, Clyde Hall, Brian Rodman, and Joe D. McPhee. We'll review the latest comic releases and talk about funny books. So please join us. It's a good time. It's the comic book show for people that don't read comic books because it's so darn much fun. So anyway, folks, again, thank you for being here. A special thanks to Master Ron Fitzgerald, and we'll be back sometime in December with another episode of Clever Title Pending. And as always, folks, you know what I'm about to say. Stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great rest of your December. If we don't talk to you before then, have a great holiday, and take care of yourself. Thanks for watching Clever Title Pending.